We all have a board of directors, but many of us struggle getting that board engaged in fundraising. And that's our topic on this first day from the Fundraising School. Hi, I'm Bill Stanczykiewicz, joined today by Dr. Gene Temple. He is the Dean Emeritus of the Lilly Family School of Philanthropy and named one of the top 50 leaders in the philanthropic sector. And Gene, I have to tell you, as I teach for the Fundraising School, every single course we hear angst about how do I get my board more engaged in fundraising. Oftentimes that module sort of takes a life of its own as the participants continue to discuss the challenges that they're having with getting their board members engaged. So this is a very common problem, but fortunately we do have some solutions.
Yes, I think that it is in fact a common problem for every board. Even you might say high functioning boards have an issue with a couple of people who might not want to be engaged in fundraising. And I think the bottom line fear is that everybody is afraid they're going to have to ask somebody for a gift.
Right.
And we have ways to deal with that. We can help train people about that. But let me talk a little bit about ways one might approach getting a board engaged.
Please.
And I think that it goes without saying that all board members should make a gift. And that's the first step of getting a board involved in fundraising. So often we don't set out some kind of expectation or in our job description for board members that they will in fact make a gift. Now you say, well, what's the minimum gift they ought to make? Some people say, well, they have to give $1,000 or they can't be on the board, that kind of thing. That's probably not the right approach because people will have different levels of ability to make gifts. And so if one simply comes up with a comment or a statement of some kind that during the time you're on this board, make this organization one of your top 3 or top 4, philanthropic organizations for the year. That will help people then judge about the level of gift that they might make. So I think that's the very first thing is that people have to make a gift. And then I have a kind of handy dandy list of 10 steps toward getting boards engaged in fundraising. And for those who fear the possibility of asking for a gift, let's start someplace at the bottom of this list of priorities. One is simply writing thank you notes to donors. And this is a very important aspect of the whole fundraising process because we do have research about the impact that gratitude, the expression of gratitude has on future behavior. There's some research that shows if waiters write thank you on the bill,
yes, the
tip will be higher. So, there's research everywhere about how expressing gratitude, has an impact on future behavior. So it's important for us to say thank you. We have an ethical responsibility to thank people for making voluntary contributions.
And we can invite our board members to be part of that process.
Board members can help write personal handwritten thank you notes to people. And the act of writing thank you notes lets people become familiar with the mission. It lets them express to others how their gift helps support the mission. And it gets them to thinking about how this philanthropy is a legitimate source of revenue for this organization.
And Gene, I know you have others on your list. Just a quick anecdote. I was teaching a course not too long ago, having this discussion. A participant raised her hand and said they took time at a board meeting to actually call donors to say thanks.
Yes.
And one of the board members came to her afterwards and said, after speaking to our donors and hearing what those gifts meant to them, I can't believe I'm not making a gift. Doesn't always happen that way, but that gratitude in a very clear way helped that board member see the importance of giving.
Well, I think that's a really good anecdote, Bill, because if you can take it from writing notes to having people make personal phone calls, even if they do those at night, everybody leaves the board meeting with 5 people to call, and making phone calls definitely has an impact on people.
What else is on the list?
Well, there are a lot of things on the list, but let me talk about something right in the middle of the list, and that is on solicitation letters that go out. Let's say these are 2 repeat donors to have board members write personal notes at the bottom of the solicitation letter. you know, I'm supporting this cause this year for this reason. I hope you'll give again as well. Or last year, this is what we did with your gift. You know, I hope you'll consider giving again. And so now we have people asking for gifts. They might have supplied names. They might have done all, you know, different ways to help help plan the fundraising process. But now they are in fact soliciting gifts, and yet they're not in a face-to-face situation. But they are, in fact, coming off of what you just said about the importance of expressing gratitude. Now they are taking that gratitude and saying, thank you for your gift last year. We hope you'll consider giving again. And doing it in a way that might mean something to the person or the other. And perhaps they know the person to whom that letter is going. All the better. But even if they don't, you know, as a board member, I want to thank you for your contribution and ask you to consider giving again this year.
It's another great example of kind of taking baby steps, if you
Yes,
will,
yes.
towards this idea of needing to make the philanthropic request.
Yeah. So, and again, we say, you know, my board's not engaged in the fundraising process, and everybody's kind of sitting around, you know, beating their chests or beating up their board because they're not out asking for gifts. But there are all these other ways we can get engaged. Somebody can host a reception. You know, for the organization, invite friends in and say, you know, look, I'm supporting this organization. It's doing wonderful things in the community. I'd like you to hear a little bit about what it's doing in the community, and then not soliciting gifts at that meeting, but saying, you know, we'd like to talk to you further about this if you're interested.
Gene, so many times as fundraisers, we feel that burden on ourselves to get the board members engaged. What if we have a small group of board members? They really get it. They are donors. They are part of the solicitation process. Can there be a peer-to-peer relationship amongst board members? Can we utilize those board members to encourage their peers to get engaged as well?
Well, you're a student of leadership and change, so
I'm a student of you.
well, I'm learning some things from you about leadership from your program. I think that my approach to change is always to find one advocate. And so if you can find one or two board members who are doing this, doing it well and enjoying it, and having them tell a story. Stories are powerful. Story about successful solicitations to some of their more reluctant board members. That can make a huge difference. But in the end, we do want to move people from, or have people get engaged with us, those who can get there. And it may take some longer to get there than others, but my contention is that everybody can get there. We want to have them get involved with staff members or other volunteers in asking for gifts.
And Gene, one of the items on your list at the end of the day is having a board member make a philanthropic request, right?
That's correct.
And so are there other aspects? We have these baby steps moving forward. What are some of the messages? What are some of the encouragements we can give to board members when we really want to set them up in a win-win opportunity? We've done a lot of the legwork. We want them to be successful. How might we encourage that reluctant board member?
Well, you know, as the fundraising school teaches, there are three big fears that people have: the fear of begging, the fear of reciprocity,
yes,
and the fear of well, I can't remember the third one right now. But think about that. If I think I'm begging, then I put myself in a subservient situation.
right.
Like that, we're not asking for ourselves. We're
Right.
asking for the organization. Remember, the case for support is what carries us forward. The fear of reciprocity, you're never going to be able to get rid of that totally, except if you put it on the case for support instead of just a personal relationship. Said, Bill, it's United Way. It's time to give, and I come and don't make a case for. I don't have a case for support.
Right.
You know, I can't convince you about anything good that's going to happen. You know, that's the wrong way to ask for a gift. You have to have the case for support. And then there's this fear of talking about money.
Right.
We talk about money all the time, and we live in houses that demonstrate how much money we have. We just need to get rid of that fear, and let ourselves be involved in this kind of solicitation. But it's important, I think, to remember where you started on this, Bill, and that is to talk about the joy of giving. The joy of giving is an important aspect of this, and if we see ourselves as people who can help others find fulfillment, human fulfillment, through philanthropy, by giving to others, I think we have a better shot at getting volunteers involved in this process.
And board engagement is something that we teach in all of our courses at the Fundraising School, which you can find on our website at philanthropy.iupui.edu/the Fundraising School. On that website, you're also going to find Dr. Temple's list of 10 items to get your board more engaged. We also can do custom training that we can bring directly to you. You can learn more through our webinars that happen 4 times a year. Also, download our free app to stay in touch with the Fundraising School in a very convenient way. You are now fully informed on this first day from the Fundraising School.